Hi everyone. This is my fifth episode of Weird Sports, and it's hosted by me, Nick Fouts. And today we're going to talk about weirdest NBA injuries and the first round preview of the upcoming playoffs. With the NBA season wrapping up, the playoffs are happening soon. I wanted to talk about the weirdest NBA injuries of all time. There's a lot of discussion about injured guys, especially in the end of the regular season. The NBA has had a problem with people sitting out. From contending teams to teams tanking, weird injuries have popped up this year and just in general in the NBA history. So I just wanted to give a quick look into that, and I thought it'd be funny to look at the weirdest NBA injuries in their history because there's a lot of weird ones, and it's funny. So let's begin with one of my personal favorites, a man that a lot of people in the NBA know and just around the world know, Charles Barkley. During his 1994 season, right after he just won MVP, right after he just lost the Chicago Bulls in 93, he went to an Eric Clapton concert, and apparently he rubbed lotion into his eyes on accident at the concert. Now, he ended up damaging his corneas and having to sit out the game, and it's one of the funniest stories because he brings it up on Inside the NBA years later, and Kenny and Shaq and Ernie Johnson all have fun with it, making fun of him, and he's like, it's a whole thing. But Barkley was very famous for having weird stuff off the court and speaking his mind, but this is probably the weirdest moment of his career, which is saying something. He had the lotion in his eyes, which I don't know how you put lotion in your eyes and why you have lotion at a concert anyway. But anyway, that's one of my favorites, and it's hilarious. And he said it was terrifying because he couldn't see, and he was freaking out, and everyone else on the inside of the NBA panel was laughing, and I thought it was hilarious. Next one, Derrick Rose, one of my favorite players. The first jersey I ever had, or second jersey, I guess, I ever had was of Derrick Rose, and he's one of the most famous players in the last 25 years, one of the most beloved players. But did you know that he cut his arm trying to slice an apple? In 2023, he was playing for the Pistons, and he ended up slicing his arm and having to go to the hospital and getting 10 stitches. Now, unlike Barkley, he was able to play the next game somehow, because that just shows you the toughness and the resilience of him. But he sliced his arm cutting an apple. A simple, everyday task, which is crazy, You never think a professional athlete of that magnitude would have that happen, but he ended up slicing his arm open because he cut open an apple not perfectly. So if it happened to D Rose, it can happen to anyone, I guess. But luckily it worked out for him, and he's a future NBA Hall of Famer. Weird injury though. The next one is one I didn't know about, but is really funny. Lionel Simmons played for the Sacramento Kings in the 90s, played at LaSalle in college, but right before his rookie year, he got injured playing too much Nintendo's Game Boy. He got injured playing too much Game Boy. He had developed tendonitis in his wrist and forearm. Now, there's so many jokes you can make with that, and it's ridiculous. And I couldn't believe that that's a real story. I can't believe that hasn't happened now, with all the video games and how NBA players are streaming and doing their thing. He ended up getting tendonitis in his wrist and elbow and missing 2 games of his rookie season, believe it or not, playing Game Boy too much. Now, I respect the grind, but that's crazy. And that just shows you how addicted he was. And as a young kid, I guess I get it. But that's a wild one. And then one in 2008 that it's been heavily debated, like which side you're on of the injury. Is it an injury or not, or what happened? But Paul Pierce, the truth, 2008 Finals MVP. During that run, Game 1 against the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol had a very infamous moment happen to him on the court. He was carried off the court during the third quarter of Game 1, and he had to be put in a wheelchair. It was very dramatic. It was in Boston. Fans were obviously very stressed because one of their best players was getting carted off the floor, like getting taken back to the locker room, as bad as it can get. What ended up happening was he came back a couple minutes later and scored a bunch of threes and had a great game, finished up with around like 25 points, and they had won the game and ended up winning the NBA championship. But the debate has been, was he going to the bathroom? Did he really need to go? And then he was just wheeled off. He had a nature calls situation. Or was he actually hurt? He had like an MCL strain or something like that. And so he joked that he needed to go to the bathroom. But in fact, he actually had an MCL sprain. But I don't know. I think that he had to go to the bathroom really bad. Yeah, he injured his knee, but I think he had to be wheeled off because he had a nature diarrhea situation. But that's just my opinion. And I've never obviously played NBA basketball before, but like if desperate times calls for desperate measures in a very stressful situation, sometimes you need to go. So I think it seems fishy. But anyway, those 4 are my 4 favorites when I was looking up the weirdest NBA injuries, and there's plenty more that I could get into, but I could talk for hours and hours about it. Instead, I'm just going to go into my first round preview and first round picks. The final 2 play-in games are tonight, and then the NBA playoffs officially starts tomorrow with the Cavs and Raptors. But tonight, the Hornets and the Magic play, and the Warriors and Suns for a right to get to the playoffs in a 1 playoff game scenario. So, for the East plan, the Charlotte Hornets are facing the Magic in Orlando, and my pick, I got the Hornets. I like Con Knipple. I like LaMelo Ball, even though his controversy with potentially injuring Bam Adebayo, there was a debate if he should be suspended or not. But I like Charlotte. I know Orlando has been a very disappointing team, and I think they have a lot of talent, but it seems like the Hornets are really motivated and they're ready, and I would love to see a potential Hornets-Pistons match. That would be amazing. There's real beef and real hatred, so I know the NBA would love that too. For the West plan, I got the Warriors and the Suns. Oh yeah, so the Warriors and Suns are playing. And I got the Warriors over the Suns. And I just think in a 1-game playoff scenario, even though the Warriors are an old team, I like their experience. Even though the Suns got D-Book and Dylan Brooks and they got other guys that have experience, but I think Steph Curry in a 1-game scenario scares the shit out of me if I'm the Suns. Steph Curry can take over any game and he can ball out anytime, as he did against the Clippers. He takes over, and you can't stop the Curry flurry. It's ridiculous. So I got the Warriors over the Sun. And I think the Warriors and the Hornets can make maybe a little competitive with the 1 seeds, but it's going to be really tough. But anyway, first series, I'm going to start in the East. The Raptors and Cavs. I got the Cavs in 5. I think Donovan Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, Allen, and the rest of the cast of characters for the Cavs, they are experienced. Their pressure's on, and I think the Raptors' inexperience and younger guys, I think the Raptors just can't really compete. I think they'll get one in Toronto because of their home court advantage. It's really tough to play in there. We saw that in 2019 with the Golden State Warriors. Really had a tough time playing in Toronto. But I think that the Cavs make pretty quick work of the Raptors and move on. For the next series in the East, the Hawks and Knicks. This was a tough one for me to pick. I was a little torn, but I think the Knicks are going to win in 7. And I think this is a 7-game series because the Hawks present a lot of challenges to the Knicks defensively, and I think they don't really know. With their inexperience, I think it actually helps them in this scenario because the Knicks have a ton of pressure on them. Because for the Knicks, it's like, if not now, when? There could be serious changes in the offseason if they lose this game. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is probably traded if they don't win this game, or other people, not named Jalen Brunson. I think this series is very, very interesting. I think Brunson takes him over the top. I think he's the best player in the series, and I'm not sure Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker can take the Hawks over the Knicks. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks somehow get this done. But I think the Knicks in 7 is my bet. Sixers, Celtics, I think it's pretty easy. Celtics in 5. I think Tatum's getting his groove back, and Brown and Tatum, when they're together, they win. Straight up. And Embiid's health, no one knows. I don't think he's good enough. I don't know what the fuck is going on with his health ever. So I think the Sixers are going to get 1 because of Tyrese Maxey. I really like him and VJ Edgecombe. Their backcourt's great, but I don't think they have enough to overpower the Celtics in their depth. The Celtics' depth is too much. Pistons, Hornets. Now, this is a series I really hope happens. They obviously got into a big fight earlier in the season, and there's suspensions, and there was a bunch of heated stuff. Like, they hate each other, and I love it. That's what I love about the playoffs. You can get actual rivalries, and people care. And the players care way more than they do in the regular season. I got the Pistons in 6. I think Cade Cunningham is too much. They do have some experience. Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham, I like that duo better than what the Hornets have. But the Hornets are going to be feisty. The Pistons are going to be feisty. It's going to be a war. For a 1-8 matchup, it's going to be very tough. But I got the Pistons. I think they're the challenger to the Celtics in the East, and I think they get through. But I really do like the Hornets for the future. They're a good future bet, in my opinion. All right, now, heading over to the West. Rockets-Lakers, the 4-5 matchup. Lakers are the 4, Rockets are the 5. Lakers have a ton of injuries, so there's some asterisks in this one, but I got Rockets in 5. I don't see Luka coming back in time. I don't see Reeves coming back in time. I think the Rockets handle them. I think LeBron is good enough to get you a game on his own, but not more. I think the Rockets are too much. Sengun and Durant, Amen Thompson. I think Amen Thompson is going to take over in this series. I think he'll dominate. And I think the size of the Rockets just overpowers the Lakers. And the Lakers are too injured. And it's too bad. It would have been fun to see this full health for both teams. Especially Durant and LeBron, probably the last time they're going to face each other in the playoff series. Most likely. Unless LeBron plays until he's 50, which, who knows at this rate. He does look like the best 40-year-old athlete I've ever seen. Besides Brady, maybe. But that's another debate for another day. The next series is one I'm stressed about as a Nuggets fan, obviously. But I'm going to try to be as non-biased as possible. But I think what's going to happen, Nuggets T-Wolves, I think Nuggets in 6. I think this is a better team than it was 2 years ago for the Nuggets. I think Jokic is the best player in the world, and no one can match what he does. And I think Murray and Gordon are gonna play better than they did 2 years ago, especially Murray. I think he has had a career, and I'm very excited to see what he does. Timberwolves present a lot of matchup problems for the Nuggets, specifically on our guards. I think Jaden McDaniels and Edwards are amazing, and I think they present a lot of problems for the Nuggets. That's why it's going to go 6, but I think the Timberwolves are a lesser team than they were 2 years ago. But this is a hell of a series. I think this is potentially the best series of the playoffs, and I hope it's not just because I'm a Nuggets fan, but I think it will be if I'm going to be non-biased. But I got the Nuggets advancing in 6 because of Joker and the crew doing their thing. Spurs Blazers feels pretty cookie cutter. Excuse me. Spurs in 5 is what I'm thinking. I think Denny Avia is going to get 1 with the Blazers, and they got Drew Holiday. They got some pieces. I like what the Blazers are doing. They're going to be very competitive for years to come, and I like them a lot. But the Spurs and Wemby is just too much. Even with their lack of experience, I really think that they are the challenge. They can challenge OKC and Denver like no one else can. I think those 3 teams in the West are above the others significantly, and I think the Spurs make quick work with the Blazers, and Wemby with no minutes restriction is crazy. I can't wait. Hopefully he stays healthy. Knock on wood for that. But I'm hoping Wemby stays healthy and we get to see a Spurs Nuggets second round, which would be amazing. And I hope, obviously, the Nuggets come out on top of that, but we'll see what happens. But the Spurs make quick work of the Blazers. And the Blazers have had a great season considering how it started with the whole scandal with their coach and Chauncey Billups. So the next series, Thunder Warriors. What I believe will be the Thunder Warriors, depending on the results tonight. I got the Thunder in 5, just out of respect for Steph and Draymond. I think they can steal 1 maybe in San Francisco, but the Thunder are wagon, and I hate it. I do not like how they play. I do not like them at all, but they are a great team. They destroy the Warriors in every game except for 1 because Steph decides, I don't want to get swept. I'm going to go all out for this game. And I think that's just what's going to happen. I think Thunder in 5 is the most realistic thing, or a sweep. But I think Thunder in 5 just because I respect Steph Curry so much. And I think the Thunder are on a collision course with the Nuggets, most likely, unless, who knows. But those predictions will come later. But I think Thunder in 5, obvious answer. That's it for the Weird Sports Show. I'm signing off. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe to the channel. And the channel's growing, weirdos. So enjoy the rest of the NBA playoffs and enjoy the weekend. Bye.